Well, good morning. Hello, everybody, and buenos dias. I'm so glad everybody could join us today. I have a lot of material to cover in a kind of a brief opening, so I will get started. It's a lovely kind of spring day here in upstate New York. I'm in the Albany area. My name is Michele Caggana, and I, along with Dr. Joanne Bedurtha, are co-project directors for NIMAC. It stands for the New York Mid-Atlantic Caribbean Regional Genetics Network. And our region includes many jurisdictions. We have Delaware, Maryland, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Puerto Rico, Virginia, the US Virgin Islands, and West Virginia in our region. And you're going to hear a lot more about us throughout the two-day meeting. So I wanted to welcome everyone to our third annual virtual meeting entitled Expanding Access to Genetic Services, Sharing Strategies, and Finding Solutions. We have over 350 people that are registered for our two-day meeting, and we're happy that each and every one of you can join us today. We're hoping we can provide you with a combination of new content, and it's designed to enhance your knowledge about genetics, service delivery, and novel models of care. We also hope to present information that you can use in both your professional and personal lives regarding not only access to genetic services, but how to enhance your experience with genetic services. And more importantly, we hope to learn from you, stakeholders in our region. I'm sure you can appreciate we have a very full agenda, and I'll go over that shortly. Before we begin today, I encourage people also to fill in some information in the chat about what you discussed in your breakout rooms, and I hope everyone sort of enjoyed that new format. Before we get started, I'd like to start with a moment of silence for the citizens of Ukraine. We here at NIMAC are personally impacted, as one of our team has a family in the country. No one would never be able to get through this. We have seen and heard about the strife and the humanitarian crises impacting that country. So let us just reflect for a moment and keep them in our thoughts. Thank you. I'd also like to recognize Kadeem Deshai Morgan. He is a member of today's DEI panel. Kadeem is a person living with cystic fibrosis and had a medical emergency yesterday and will not be able to join us, but I wanted to take a moment for us all to send him some positive thoughts. And you'll hear more about him in the session that he was to participate in. I'd like to introduce our advisory committee. Our members are listed on this slide, and also all of the members of the NIMAC team. I'd also like to acknowledge FACMG Atubu, who is our program officer from the Health Resources and Services Administration, or HRSA as we call it. HRSA funds all of the regional genetics networks. We call them RGNs for short. I'd also like to thank Megan Lyon, who's our lead from the National Coordinating Center, and her group oversees all of the RGNs and keeps us on our path forward. Throughout the meeting, you're going to see our team members with our custom teal and NIMAC logo backgrounds. So we are, like Fred and his group and Erica have their backgrounds. We are all here to help you. If you have any questions specifically, please reach out to us in the chat. In addition to our NIMAC team members, we were assisted in planning this meeting by Dr. Raylan Forsyth, who's a medical and biochemical genetics fellow at Children's Hospital. Dr. Maria Isabel Frangenberg, who's a consultant for NIMAC. Dr. Lisa Muñez from Albert Einstein College of Medicine and Children's Hospital at Montefiore, and she's in New York City. Lisa Richard, who's a parent from the Center for Family Involvement at the Virginia Commonwealth University. Rosani Sanchez, who is a project coordinator for Family Voices National. She's also a strong participant in NIMAC and a lead in our Puerto Rico team. And then Dr. Jerry Vockley, who is a renowned medical geneticist from the University of Pittsburgh. So this group has worked together for over 6 months to create the content and format of our meeting. And I wanted to thank them all for their help in putting this all together. You've already heard from Erica and from Fred and part of her production team. They've partnered with us again to produce our annual meeting this year. and to host it on a Zoom platform. Her team, if you were here last year, you know that her team is expert in creating opportunities to connect and collaborate over the course of our programs. They'll handle the behind the scenes, as you heard. Their goal and our goal is for a seamless experience for all of you that are participating today. Please pay attention to the chat as the day unfolds. We paste questions there. We post information, links to move you around the program. So always pay attention to that. And if you heard, if you have any technical assistance, need technical assistance, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm going to go over the agenda briefly just to get everybody aware of what's going on. If you're just joining us, we already had 2 concurrent lectures by some of our collaborators. These are 45-minute sessions, and today one covered cerebral palsy and the other was a genetics 101 and NIMAC 101 for parents. There's also additional lectures scheduled later on today and similarly tomorrow. After this, Alyssa will give an update on the great work being done by our collaborators and our teams. And then we also have what we're calling this year a collaboration corner beginning at 10:40 a.m. Our industry partners and our teams will have some booths, and you'll have a choice to visit 3 of them over the period for about 15-minute session each. We will then have a session on collaborating with stakeholders, and then we encourage you to grab lunch and sit down and listen to another set of those 45-minute lectures. And our last formal workshop will focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And then we'll have a quick wrap up and sort of takeaways from Dr. Bertha. And then afterwards, you can join a breakout and sort of social network. There'll be some different topics of discussions that you can join so that you can continue to meet people as if you were in a big conference room. For day 2, again, for the early birds, we'll have 2 of those lectures. One will be on gene therapy and the other on whole genome sequencing and what its promise and practice is. And then we'll have another series of concurrent sessions. So one will be on genetics and primary care, and the other one will be on emerging treatments for genetic conditions. That'll be followed by another collaboration corner session. So again, stop and visit our booths in quotes. Then we'll have 2 concurrent sessions focusing on public health. One is on health equity and precision medicine, and the other is a panel discussion about newborn screening. Again, we encourage you to grab lunch and then visit our collaborator sessions for the last in the series of these 45-minute presentations. One will be on what families need to know about exome sequencing, and the other is on the uric acid cycle disorders. And then we'll wrap up with 2 concurrent sessions again on novel models of service delivery. One was related to creating efficiencies in genetics clinics, and the other will be a panel on lessons learned from telegenetics, which, as you are probably aware, exploded during the pandemic. And these will be followed by a workshop centered on sort of the same topic. And then again, after the wrap up, those rooms will be open for you to meet people from the meeting. So just some housekeeping things so people are aware. As you already saw, you'll have a choice this year to join breakouts or not join breakouts. Those discussions will not be recorded. However, the open sessions will be. The recordings and slides for most of the sessions will be available to people who participated after the meeting. And what we're hoping to do is make available CME so that you can go back. If you didn't have a chance to see all sessions, you can go back and get additional CME after the event's over. We have to do some more work after the meeting concludes in order to make this possible. So look for emails from us with additional information. Now the all-important questions about getting continuing education credit. Again, this year we're offering National Society of Genetic Counselors offering up to 8.17 Category 1 contact hours. There's a couple things that you have to be aware of in order to get that. You have to actually log into the webinar. We have to show proof that you attended, so you have to be logged in. You also have to document your participation for the attended sessions, and you have to complete an evaluation and a self-report form, and you'll get that information again after the meeting. In order to claim your credit, you're going to have your user ID to complete the form. And again, this year we are covering the fees, so the CEUs are free. If you have any questions, feel free to email Alyssa at the NIMAC-telegenetics@gmail.com email, or you can reach out to any of us. For the medical community, we've worked with ACMG and the National Coordinating Center and we've gotten approval and accreditation through the Accreditation Council for Continuing Medical Education, known as ACCME to us, through the ACMG, the Medical College of Medical Genetics and Genomics, and NIMAC. So this program is approved for 8.25 Category 1 credits, and you need to complete the evaluation form completely within 30 days. If you fail to do it within 30 days, they are not going to accept late requests. This is more information about the steps that were taken to ensure that this program is free from any commercial influence or promotional bias. Some of these slides, we'll be giving you more information throughout the meeting and a link to get sort of this information for you to review again. I will say that we're going to have the PDFs kind of up on our website, and so there'll be a click button to take you to the proper place. The hyperlinks like they're shown on here won't link for you to get to that point. We also have to show you what the financial disclosures are for all of our meeting participants. So the majority of the participants in our meeting do not have anything to disclose. So here's an alphabetical list of people who are participating and then what their activities are. And you can see here, this group has nothing to disclose. There's a couple of disclosures on this slide. And again, these were mitigated by the review in order to get the credits approved. Nothing to disclose amongst this group of speakers. And then lastly, this group of disclosures. Okay, so the ACMG goes through a process in order to mitigate and review all commercial influence or promotional bias. The sessions are supposed to be free from that, and each of the speakers will have a disclosure slide that describes what their relationships are as part of their disclosure. And so this just describes what steps ACMG took to mitigate any of the disclosures. In order to obtain credit for this program, you need to complete a post-meeting evaluation, and it will be distributed by us within 2 weeks of the conclusion of this. And at that point, after you complete that eval, you will receive the Category 1 credits based on what your participation level was for the meeting. So here's the learning objectives. Participants should be able to summarize existing resources on genetic topics and new models of care available to PCPs that can be used in managing patients with genetic conditions. List benefits and opportunities for broader engagement of providers, families, and public health entities with families in designing delivery systems for genetic services. And lastly, to identify opportunities for collaboration and resource sharing between NIMAC and your organization. Okay, I just wanted to take a slide here to thank our sponsors who helped fund some of the program content that you will be seeing over the next 2 days. And also a list of our exhibitors and collaborators who are participating in various ways, either giving talks or having booths in the collaboration corner. A lot of the folks listed on this slide are participating in those 45-minute sessions. And lastly, just a few closing thoughts. Planning for this virtual meeting takes a village. I want to especially thank Pat Bish, who's and Alyssa Terry and the Marks team who pretty much worked 24/7 the last few weeks. They did the lion's share of the work to bring this program to you. Also, please fill out our brief evaluation. We do take what you tell us to heart, and we make improvements based on the feedback that we get. So details on the evals will be given later. Again, please visit our exhibitor booths. The more the merrier, so please participate in our polls and our interactive content and activities. Everyone's participation makes it more fun for all. We encourage you to check out our website often. It continues to be populated with content. And visit NIMACgenetics.org and look for some new pages and learn about upcoming events and new opportunities. And lastly, please check us out on Facebook. Please go ahead and search for NIMAC New York Mid-Atlantic Caribbean Regional Genetic Network. Probably NIMAC will do it for you. Feel free to join our group. And we post a lot of content there and a lot of updates and genetics information and things about what's going on in genetics in our region. Right, so that's kind of the intro, and we're going to have a poll, I believe. So the day one opening poll is pretty simple. Were you here last year? And obviously, is this your first NIMAC meeting? So everyone take a moment and click on the buttons to answer that question.
Looks like we have most of the answers coming in, Michelle. So I'm going to close the poll in 3, 2, 1.
All right, how many?
Here you go.
All right. So we have a pretty good new participation. I'm pleased to see that. So welcome everybody. And obviously that kind of is the converse there. So great, thank you. And I do welcome the new people and thanks for coming back to the folks that were here last year. Okay, at this point, again, thanks for joining us. And I'm happy to turn it over to my team member extraordinaire, Alyssa Terry. She's going to introduce herself and tell us more about NIMAC.